Alright, I'm going to sort these out. I got a couple of pans here that I'm going to use for my lube. I'm going to do a Alox lube. I'm going to do a pan lube just to compare the two to see which one I like better. And then I got this bucket here, sold ice cream bucket. I'm going to use to put the Alox on. First, I'm going to get my homemade bullet lube going, so that can be melting and mixing. And then I'm going to come back and sort these out and get a count. Okay, this is what I'm working with here. The ingredients are Gulf Wax petroleum jelly. Make sure you get the pure petroleum jelly, and S2P. It's 1-to-1 ratio on this. A pound of petroleum jelly, a pound of paraffin wax, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of this. That's the recipe I've gotten off the internet, and I've watched some YouTube videos on some of the guys who make this, so I'm going to try that recipe, see how it works. Some of them used a double boiler. I'm just going to use a pan and make sure my heat is low, just warm enough to start melting this wax and petroleum jelly, if I can get it out. Just to melt that. I don't want to burn it. I don't want it to smoke. So it's going to be a real low temperature, and that's going to be simmering and melting down and mixing. And I'm going to go back in there and sort those bullets like I'd said before. The store did not have a pound of petroleum jelly. They had this is the biggest container they had at 13 ounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 13 ounces of this, 13 ounces of the Gulf Wax, paraffin wax, just to even that out, and then I'll do about a teaspoon of this, and I'm just going to pour some in there. I'm not going to measure this. I know about what a teaspoon is. So with that, we'll get busy. I got my scales here. I'll set the pan on here, and we'll just mix it right up in there. I'll zero that out. Got to spin real quick. And you know, I don't know if any of y'all do any cooking. I do a lot of the cooking around my house, and I know, you know, if you buy a bottle of ketchup and it says 12 ounces of ketchup, or you know, whatever denomination it is, there's not always 12 ounces in a bottle of ketchup. It's usually more, because manufacturers don't want to anger the public by shorting them. You know, if it's a 12-ounce bottle of ketchup, you know, they may give you 13 ounces. I don't want to short you and give you 11 ounces and then you not buy their product. I think it was Heinz. If it's not Heinz, then forgive me, Heinz people. But I remember a story where a man and his wife was making a recipe, and it called for several bottles of ketchup, and the bottles were exactly what they needed, whether it be 2 or 4 or whatever, but it worked out. They should have just been able to put the ketchup in and be done with it, but they measured it, and when they measured it, it came out short, and they went to the store and bought several bottles more ketchup and measured each one of them, and every one of them was short by varying amounts, and they ended up suing the manufacturer. So it's a good idea to, you know, just if it's something, this is probably not crucial that it's exactly proportionate, but I just like to be as close as I can on stuff like this. That way you know what you're working with. If the formulas turns out, you know, a little bit different than you thought and it needs a little tweaking, then you know you'll have an idea about which way to go. I think that's about all we're going to get out of that bottle, so I'll lay it to the side. Okay, I had to remeasure this here. My scale turned off on me. Usually if I'm doing something like this, it's over a long period of time. I just have to keep touching it, and so it won't turn itself off. But this is a case in point of the story I just told you. There's 11.7 ounces that came out of this container, and you know, it's fairly clean. I don't think there's another ounce that I can make up. So there was not 13 ounces in this bottle, if these scales are correct, and I believe that they are. So since we got 11.7 ounces of petroleum jelly, we're going to make that up with the match that with the wax. And we'll just go ahead and double check that with this. I got to put it back in here anyway, so you know, if it comes out to be 11.7 plus or minus just a little, then yeah, we'll be okay. We've zeroed our scales out again. I'm going to open this wax here. Let's see what we got. It's 4.2, 8.3, 12.5. That's close enough. As my wife said one time, typical saying, close enough for government work. And my 13-year-old daughter replied, "But government work's not all that good." Well, good enough. Go ahead and put this on her eye over here. Turn it on low. Get that going. I'm going to add a little STP. It's going to do about a teaspoon. And we're just going to let that simmer on low and let it melt for just a little while.